Hello, everybody. This is John Butero back with another Bible Light radio program. Glad to have you along with me today. And I'm going to be talking on a subject that I don't believe I've ever spoken on. In all the years that I've been doing ministry, this is a topic that I think this is the very first time I've ever talked about it at all. And that is the dangers of gambling. And one of the reasons why that I feel so strongly about this and the need to actually address the issue is because of ads that have been running, not just on other radio stations, but that have been running on my radio station as well. A lot of people don't realize this, but all the ads that you hear on this radio station are not ads that I've actually gone out and sold. I've had people to contact me sometimes about purchasing ad time on the station, and there's been times where I've turned down ads. And one of the types of ads that people have contacted me about purchasing from me was in relation to gambling. They've also contacted me about purchasing ads for other types of things like cannabis and other types of some types of adult products and things like that, and I've turned all of those things down. But at times you're going to hear ads that are running that are not ads that were purchased from me, but they were purchased. It's not really from the network per se, because it's not really. I don't really consider what we are affiliated with a network, but the server that we are associated with, they'll purchase it from them, and then they will be running their ads on all the different radio stations that are in here. It helps defray the cost. But one of the types of ads that have been very frequent on the station are ads for different sports books. And I'm sure if you've been listening to this station much, you've heard a lot of ads, especially depending on where you're at in the country. Now, the ads are tailored to the areas that you're in. And it just so happens that my state in the last year or so made it legal to allow for gaming over the internet and the use of gambling through sports books. And I remember when I first started hearing these ads broadcasted, I remember I was alarmed by it because I could see the dangers that could come along with allowing this expansion of gambling within my state. And, in the past, I remember when gambling first came to my state, and I wasn't really that terribly alarmed by it because it was so limited in scope. The early days of gambling in my state was when they allowed the Indian casinos to come in the mountains. And I had mixed feelings about that because of the way that a lot of the Native Americans had been done, and because they're on tribal lands, and because if you do have casinos limited to a certain area like that, it's not like the average person is going to be gambling day in and day out, and they're not going to be gambling throughout the day on their lunch break or when they're sitting at home on their couch and stuff like that. They might plan a trip and they'll put some money back and they'll go spend time over there, and part of their vacation might be spent inside of an Indian casino. And so while it's not a great thing, I also wasn't that terribly alarmed by it. In addition to that, then came along the lottery, and that has been something that I also have had concerns over, because I know that a lot of people don't have any self-control when it comes down to the lottery. If somebody is the type person who will go in there and purchase a single lottery ticket and that's it, that's all they'll do for the week, or maybe buy 2 lottery tickets, one on each one of the different ones that they have, that's a waste of money for most people, but nevertheless, it's very limited in scope if you've got the ability to do that. Of course, we know that's not where it ends. A lot of people will buy the scratch-offs, and they'll buy them in huge numbers. Sometimes a single scratch-off ticket might cost you $20 or more for a single ticket because it'll have a higher jackpot on it. And people want instant gratification, and they'll go out and they will just blow that money very quickly. So with the lottery came even more concerns. And, these kind of things will oftentimes hit poor people more than they will people with a lot of money, because it's poor people that will be going out trying to get a lot of money in a hurry, and they will turn around and they will buy lottery tickets. But now we've got something that is far more dangerous to the average person, far more widespread, far more damaging than the Indian casino and the lottery, and that is the sports books. And you hear the ads again running on the station. Places like FanDuel, places like MGM. Why is this so bad? Because people now are able to not only go out somewhere and place a bet, not go down to their convenience store and buy lottery tickets, not plan a family vacation, or maybe not a family vacation, but plan a vacation where some of their time will be spent at an Indian casino. But now all they have to do is pull out their telephone, and they'll be betting not only on the outcome of a football game or a baseball game or a hockey or bat or whatever type of game, but they will be betting throughout the games. They will be able to make bets on who's going to score first. Things like, will this batter strike out? Will they hit a home run? You can imagine how quickly somebody can go through a lot of money in a hurry when they're making bets like that on the spot based on hunches. And while there's nothing in the sense of that these things are rigged or anything like that, they are set up in a way where they will always favor the house. The one who is responsible for collecting the money for these bets and everything has everything set up in a way where they know they're always going to come out on top. That doesn't mean that nobody ever wins anything, but it means that it's always going to be set up in a way to where they are going to come out the beneficiary of winning more than they lose. If it wasn't so, none of these places would ever be able to stay in business. But whether or not I like these sports books in my state, whether I like the gambling in my state, the chances are it's here to stay, because once they open the Pandora's box to it, the state is making a lot of revenue off of it. They're making a lot of tax revenue, and they're not going to want it to go away. And we're starting to even see little businesses pop up here and there where it's like walking into a casino. It's all set up online, and it's legal even in places where the citizens really don't want it. It's taking people's money in huge sums that they can't afford to lose. Real close to it, the church that I attend is one of these little places in my county, and you will see that place packed out with people gambling all the time. And it's legal because of a technicality, because it's all being done through the internet, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And I'm not starting a campaign to petition anybody or do anything like that, although I have no problem with anyone that might feel the desire to do that. But what I'm trying to do here on this radio program, whether you're in the state that I'm in, or you're in another state that's got this, or a state that's getting ready to expand gambling to your state, I am bringing you this message today as a warning to you, so that you won't get caught up in the snare, because it's like a spider's web. It's been put out there to catch you and to catch others and to separate you from your money. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all designed to do. It may seem like nothing but harmless fun, but it will be something that will bite you if you are not careful about it. A lot of people don't really look at gambling as this terrible, sinful thing, and I'm not here really so much to preach it as a sin in the sense of a transgression of God's laws, because the Bible itself never even mentions gambling. It's one of the things why that the devil will get a hold of people sometimes on something like this. If it's not specifically mentioned in the Bible, we assume that it's just fine to do it, and it's no big deal. But at the same time, just because something isn't called out by name doesn't mean that it's something that's harmless to us. We are stewards of the money and the possessions and the things that God gave us. And we are going to have to give an account for the way that we use the things that God gave us. Most of us don't have a lot of disposable income to do anything that we want with it. For most of us, we can't afford to, lose, $20, $50, $100 betting throughout a baseball game or a football game. Who's going to hit a home run, who's going to get struck out, who's going to have this happen or that happen. Most people can't afford that. I know I can't. And God does expect us to use our money right. In the book of Matthew chapter 25, starting at verse 14, we see a familiar passage about how that a man with various talents, which represents money, is leaving a certain amount of talents with his servants to take care of it and to look after it for him, to look after his interests. And I'm going to read this passage for you. This is again Matthew chapter 25, starting at verse 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and unto another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability. And straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is not, by the way, just so you know, this is not talking about somebody going around gambling. This is talking about somebody going around and actually earning more talents. They're actually using that which God had given them in a right manner. It doesn't mean that one of them decided to take his 10 talents or 5 talents or 1 talent and go down to the local casino and gamble it. That's not what it's talking about, is anything like that. This is talking about somebody actually taking that God gave to us and using it for something good. To give you an example of that in my life, when I was younger and was struggling financially, I was able to get some money that the Lord gave me through a relative to help me out during a hard time. And I used that money to go to school so that I could learn to do something. In this case, it was truck driving, to learn to drive a tractor trailer truck and to get a job that paid a lot more than the job that I had before and be able to turn things around. That's taking your talents, investing them in something that actually will be of value. It's not something that's easy come, easy go type gains like with gambling, but it is something that you invest in order to have a real income stream through hard work, and you can therefore you benefit yourself, you benefit your family. Wouldn't have to be truck driving. It could be investing in any kind of higher education. It could be starting a business if you had the ability and knew how to do it, you had a skill or something or other, but it's actually using it for something of value. But God is going to hold us responsible for that which he gives us. And everything that we have, every good and every perfect gift that we have, comes down from God the Father. Gambling, unlike, investing in an education, investing in something tangible that actually may involve hard work, gambling is a get-rich-quick scheme. It's something that you might get lucky and get a little bit of money in a hurry with no real work, but it won't last. It never seems to last, because just as quickly as you get it, it's usually gone. And anybody that's ever watched anyone gambling, and even if they win something, like say in a casino, you see somebody win a lot, generally they turn around and they lose everything that they've won. As a matter of fact, not only that, but a lot of time you don't see how much they've lost before they win. You can be sitting in a casino and you can hear all those bells going off and everything, and somebody over there seemingly won this huge amount of money, and you think, man, that could be me next. And maybe you look over there and they've won a couple of $100 on a machine, but you didn't see that they have already lost $400 or $500 before they ever won the $200. Or if they are fortunate enough that they actually won something, most of the time they'll turn around and they'll bet it all back into the machine, and then they'll turn around and lose more. That's just typical of the way it usually goes, because with gambling, it's easy come, easy go. That's the way people look at it. They'll be kicking themselves when they lose everything again, but nevertheless, that's the way that people do. It's human nature. John chapter 10, verse 10, the Bible says, "The thief cometh but to steal, kill, and destroy." Back when I was in trucking, where I was running all across the country, one of the places that I used to go to was Nevada, and that was because I had business in Nevada. I was delivering to outlet malls in Nevada. And so sometimes when I was over there, I would be eating at the casinos. The casinos would give you really good prices on food over there. You could go in there and go in the coffee shop and have a prime rib dinner for $4, which was wonderful for somebody who didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. And yet, but I would be observing truck drivers that were in there gambling at the machines, and I would watch them get advances on their money, and money they hadn't even earned yet, and they would blow it all in the casino. I mean, just everything they had, to the point where they didn't get any advances anymore, and then they would have to do without. The thief, the devil, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what he does to people. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." See, what it is we've got to have money to get by in this world, and God understands that. But at the same time, the love of money, the idea of getting quick money, not without having to put any effort into it, the love of money in that way is the root of all evil, because it leads to all kinds of greed and criminal activity, even to be able to get more, and even sometimes reckless behavior, as is the case when it comes down to things like gambling. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11 says, "Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase." And there is a real reason for that. Why is it that somebody who wins something in a hurry through gambling, it seems to go right back through their fingers again? As quickly as they get it, it's gone. It's because they didn't do anything really to earn it. When you have to go out and you've got to work really hard to earn something, it's not so easy just to throw it away. When I have to go out and I have to work all week making deliveries in a truck, and like right now, it's not necessarily the most pleasant time of year to be out here. It's cold weather, and I'd much rather be at home sitting in front of the television set, sipping on coffee or hot chocolate and just enjoying myself, than being out here in a truck. But I have to be out here in a truck earning an honest living. When I do that, and whatever money that I earn, it's valuable to me, because I know how many hours I had to put in to earn that little bit of money. And so I'm not so quick to just let that money go, fast. But when you just did nothing but went into a casino and you happen to hit a jackpot and you win a couple of $100, it's easy to let that money go. You didn't do anything to earn it. Or you go down there and you buy a scratch off ticket and you're one of the few that actually comes out on top that one day. It's easy to blow that money again. Money that's gotten through vanity will be diminished. Another thing that we need to remember when it comes down to gambling is that gambling is addictive, and it will get a hold of you. And if you're not careful, you'll be one of those people that you see all the time that lets all of the money for the rent, the groceries, just to take care of their own family, it's gone. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8 says, "But if any provide not for his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." An infidel meaning an unbeliever. So God is going to hold you responsible if you don't take care of your family. A lot of people will end up blowing all of the money that they need for the baby formula, for their rent, for their food, their basic needs. They will blow it all by going out gambling, because it has them hooked. They'll go out and they'll think that the very next time they go out, this time will be the time they will win. They will get the idea that they've got this tip on who's going to win a sporting event, and it's a sure thing in their mind. And then they'll turn around and they'll bet money that they don't have to bet, and that'll be the end of it. All the rent money down the drain, the food money down the drain, and they'll feel terrible about it after it happens, but it won't matter because the money will be gone. And again, this is a sin, by the way. If you do not take care of your own, you're a man and you do not take care of your own household, you are in sin. God looks at you as worse than an unbeliever, even if you are a Christian. It is a sin. But it isn't even just about it being a sin issue. 1 Corinthians 6:12 says, "All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any." Just because something is not spelled out as a sin, that does not mean it is a smart thing for you to engage in. For instance, let's take somebody with, when it comes down to something like alcohol. Alcohol in itself, if it's not in excess, is not called a sin in the Bible. And, I don't ever preach alcohol across the board as a sin. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't have any self-control when it comes to alcohol. And it's not a wise thing for them to do it. they'll say within themselves, oh, I can control it. I can limit myself to one beer, one glass of wine, and before you know it, they're out of control and they're drunk. Before you know it, they're that one that's that mean drunk who beats their wives. They're that person who spends all the money on alcohol. Well, the same thing happens with gambling. People will take the money that they need for their regular basic necessities, and they will blow it all on gambling and the hope for quick riches that they never seem to get, because the system is all set up against them. I could spend more time getting into this because I could share more things I know about gambling and gambling addiction, but I'm going to let it go at that. Our time is about up anyway. I do want to close out with one passage of scripture, Matthew chapter 6, verses 33 to 31. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Don't put your trust in gambling, put your trust in God. And just because you hear ads promoting gambling, that does not mean that we approve of gambling. It doesn't mean that I sold those ads to those businesses because I've turned down gambling ads to businesses. It just means it's a network or it's a server ad, and we are required to run them. But I am encouraging you, stay away from the promises of quick riches. Don't put your trust in gambling. Put your trust in God. Put your trust in things that actually require work, but nevertheless, they're things that you actually can earn and get some satisfaction out of and actually have some real value to them. That's all the time I have on today's program. Thank you for joining me. Join me again, Lord willing, next week on the Bible Light radio broadcast. God bless you.